Robbo, really tough one to take. It felt like we were on top for, I'd say, 80 minutes of that game.
Yeah, of course it's tough, but it just ain't good enough, is it? Fundamentally, there's loads of emotion in the dressing room now, and you're saying things, and you're trying to pick in your head what you saw in the game, and I actually thought we were, first half, I thought they got in too easy a couple of times, and I rectified that. I thought we weren't taking control of situations, and Alfie May was causing us too many problems from nothing really, from balls, and I just said, like, you got to have one winner and the rest of you got to swing around and drop. But then we had some really good chances first half as well to put the game to bed, and then second half I thought we rectified that. Our shape was good. I can't think of Tans doing anything. I thought we looked a little bit passive at times in the second half, and I didn't want us to do that because 1-0 up after having not won for so long. So when Ben went down, I just called him over and said, look, your shape's good, but don't become passive, get the press at the right times. And again, I thought we did that, and we broke a couple of times, and it looked like we were going to get a second. And then and all I would say, it then gets to sort of 75, 80, and I'm just looking, and it looks like I'm having to drive players on to run, which isn't right. I'm looking, going, is that me? Is that my own nerves driving them, or is it because I feel like that? And I think it's because I feel like that. So you just, and I've talked about that, but fundamentally, Chris, we've conceded goals again, and I need to look at them, especially the first and the second. I need to look at them because, like you said, we look very comfortable.
It reminded me of the Doncaster game, really. Just 2 goals literally in the space of almost a minute. I couldn't believe it. I didn't feel like I was watching the same team, because up to then, as I said before, we've been playing really well. Do you think, I know you were talking to the press about it, do you think it is a mentality thing maybe?
Well, it's got to be something, hasn't it? It's got to be something. And all we keep trying to drive through is to relentlessly keep doing the same things. Football's random enough as it is. Anything can happen at any point. That's why it's a great game, even when you're playing great. So, I've got to look at the goals, and I've got to look and see, is it key areas for me? I just think there's too many little momentum changes with us. That's my biggest problem. Is there's times when we don't come out with the ball in 1v1 duels, and that we lose momentum there. There's times when we don't run in behind, and then when we don't run in behind, we're not spending enough time in their defensive third. So that changes momentum. There's times when we get the ball and we under-hit ball, so that that's what I see more than the collective. I don't see this collective being dragged all over the place. I see little tiny momentum changes, and that's we've got to find an answer to that, because as I said, I don't think it's just one big thing where you go, well, we get pulled apart, we get dragged about. I don't see that, but I just see little key moments where we should maybe be in their defensive third and we don't, and they end up in our defensive third. Little key things, whether it be a 1v1 duel, an under-hit pass, not coming away with the ball, lack of detail, and I understand when you're on the run we're in, but we have to find a way, mate.
Would you say that's just like game management, sort of managing situations when you're ahead?
Is it though? Because as you said, you weren't at 1-0. We're not uncomfortable,
No.
So as I said, I need to look at the build up to the goal and go, was there little things that we haven't done well enough? And we talk about this. We talked about it after the Doncaster game. There was 3 little key things that led up to their first goal that weren't good enough, where we didn't play a ball into a certain area, then we didn't win a duel, and they end up breaking. And these are the key things that you have to get right, because football's about momentum. And when you're when was the first goal? 80 minutes, or I don't know. 80.
Yeah.
So you have to go, right, we need to keep the momentum. You want the ball fundamentally to be up their end of the pitch as much as possible, and when they break, you want to nullify it and build again. So I just need to look at that first goal.
I think, as you say, we do have to take some positives from the performance. For 80 minutes we were good, and we were more what you want from your side. How pleased were you with Rudy's goals? Because it seemed like the lofted balls we were hitting in behind them were really effective in the first half. When he took a goal well.
Well, this week we'd been working on, football, to hurt teams, you either go round them, through them, or over them, and you can't make decisions for players. They need to recognise the picture, and we'd recognised having those runners in behind, and Iob, as you said, had got in earlier, and we'd got in looked like we nearly got in a couple of times, and Rudy got in really well from a great ball. So that's what we keep working on. But obviously, if a team sit deep, there isn't room to go over, so then that's why you've got to go round them, and that might allow you to play through them. So I thought that the mixture was all right. As I said, I thought we didn't look as secure enough as we needed to in the first half, but the mixture was all right, and I was pleased with the goal. But did we do enough of that second half again until you look back? But then we were quite comfortable. The crowd were getting on their backs and booing because they were passing sideways here, so we were in control. But did we carry enough of the threat that we did in the first half? That's what I've got to look at. But but let's be honest, we would have been more than happy to just see a 1-0 out today. That would have been enough.
Definitely. And then finally, I know none of us want to be in it, but we're unfortunately in the relegation zone now. First time this season. Do you feel like this is, hopefully going to kick the lads into gear and sort of, moves away from this position?
Well, we need a wake-up call. As you said, we haven't been in there all season. We've gone in there now. The 19 league games is just not acceptable. I'm embarrassed by it myself and hurting, but it's not acceptable. So this needs to change it. Needs to change it. I'll fundamentally keep working with the staff to give them everything, but they play the game when they go out there, and that's not me throwing them under the bus, but that they do play the game. And I ask them, do they feel they're getting enough for us to win games? Tactically, in everything we do, I get the same answers, but when they cross that line, they got to play the game. And it's like you said, for 80 minutes today, it was. I don't think it was at our best, but we were fine and we looked comfortable. But we walked off the pitch and we've lost 3-1, and it ain't good enough.